Hey my loves, my name is Mina. Welcome to our channel Mina Reads, and today we're going to be doing my March wrap up. In March I read 16 books, have absolutely no idea how I accomplished that, and I also read a lot of like sci-fi and fantasy, which if you are someone who's been on my channel for a while, you will know that I'm mostly a romance reader. I definitely read sci-fi and fantasy occasionally. It's a genre that I really enjoy, but this month there was way more than usual, and it was an interesting month to say the least. So in March, I did post two reading vlogs, and so some of these books I read in those vlogs. So I'm going to separate it by each vlog, and then I'll talk about the additional books that didn't get featured in a vlog near the end of the video. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to leave timestamps so you can just like check it out that way if you want. So the first vlog that I did was the second installment in my Mina Reads Your Fave series, in which I read books by some of my favorite booktubers that they really love as their favorite books, and I just kind of try to see if our tastes align and where we might differ in terms of our tastes, and you know, if I just like the books that they recommend. So in that one I ended up reading my friend Erin from Booked and Busy's faves, and she is definitely a fantasy reader, so I read exclusively her fantasy faves. And yeah, so I read 4 books for that vlog. So the first book that I read for that one was Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. In Assassin's Apprentice, we are following a character named Fitz. And Fitz is this young boy. He is the bastard son of the crown prince of this country called the Six Duchies. So as he's the bastard son, he is taken into the royal family, but they don't necessarily want him there. They don't want him to gain any kind of like political power. So they decide that he will become the assassin for the crown. I kind of was hoping that even though he's like an assassin's apprentice, I was hoping there would be more assassinations. There wasn't. I didn't personally enjoy the plot of this book. Like, it just wasn't that good. I think that what I did kind of enjoy about this is that Fitz is a very sympathetic character, because so many horrible things are just happening to him, and it's like nobody cares about him and everybody hates him, and then there was nothing about the plot or the world building that I found compelling. So I mostly found myself reading for Fitz because he was a character that I felt bad for. So I gave this book like 3 stars. I think that it was well crafted and all that kind of stuff, but I didn't necessarily love it. So yeah. So then we have Red Rising by Pierce Brown. This is a sci-fi novel about a character named Darrow, and Darrow is a red. In this Martian society, reds are being used to mine helium-3 in the core of the planet. So reds are basically at the bottom of this social caste system. Darrow discovers the fact that the reds, who have been told that they are working towards terraforming Mars so that they can save humanity, they actually find out that they're literally just slave labor, and essentially lots of people have been living on Mars for generations, and the reds have just been toiling as slaves unknowingly all this time, and the golds are at the top of the society. So Darrow and this group of like freedom fighters essentially sneak Darrow into golden society, and he becomes a gold so that he can infiltrate their society, cause instability. I don't know, he's trying to do some stuff so he can create equality in this social caste system, basically. But before he can do all of that, he has to fully infiltrate the golden society, and he needs to go to this golden school so that he can train to become a high level gold. So to go to this golden school, you have to enter a Hunger Games-esque death tournament. So we're following Darrow as he enters this death tournament and as he's going undercover as a gold. I am not describing this well enough, but it is a really interesting like sci-fi dystopian novel. I would definitely recommend it if you are a Hunger Games fan but you want a more mature, more brutal, graphic kind of Hunger Games, I guess. The one thing that I will say that I didn't like about this and didn't enjoy about it was that I felt like sexual assault was handled very strangely in this book, and I really don't know what the author was going for with some of the themes revolving around that. But I did think that overall, like, it was a really engaging read. It was really fast paced. Like, I read this whole book in a night. I was obsessed. I thought that Darrow was a very interesting main character. The plot was interesting. The world building was fascinating to me, and I definitely want to see where this story is going to go. Yeah, I'm really excited to read the second book, Golden Sun, and hopefully I will like it more than I like this one. But this one was pretty good. So I gave this like 3.5 stars. I probably rounded it up on Goodreads. It was really enjoyable. So then I read the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. This was a masterpiece. You guys need to read it. If you haven't read it already, please do. It's just fucking phenomenal. So basically we are following 3 POVs. We are following Esun, Demaya, and Cyanite, and these characters, they live on a country called the Stillness, which is ironic because the Stillness is anything but, and basically they are living in an age of constant natural disasters, and they call these natural disasters seasons. And the only thing that really kind of helps keep these seasons at bay is the existence of origins, and origins are like these earth magic wielding people. However, origins, they are discriminated against, ostracized, and completely like subjugated in this society. And so we're following these characters as they are all origins and how they are navigating their society. Demaya, she is a young girl and she is found to be an origin and she's kicked out of her home. We have Cyanite, who is actually a part of this origin community called the Fulcrum, in which people kind of control every aspect of the origins' lives, and they force them to, you know, help quell the shakes that happen on the Stillness. They were following another woman named Esun, and Esun, she is looking for her daughter because her husband has recently murdered their son and kidnapped their daughter. So she's looking for her daughter. There's a lot of stuff going on. This is a very interesting, complex world, and these characters are just such fascinating people. And I think that N.K. Jemisin does a really brilliant job of delivering this really interesting and insightful look at like oppression, subjugation, but she also creates this really interesting world. And like, I don't know, there's something about the world that she builds that's just so fascinating, and I really like the way that she reveals information to you. It feels like the story is like a constant mystery and there's a constant plot twist, and I don't know, I just really love that. I think it was really compelling to read and I would highly recommend it. I would say that the first few chapters are a little bit confusing and like jarring to read because some of the chapters are in second person, but I still would highly recommend it. Please push through those first few chapters. This is a masterpiece. You absolutely need to read it.
It is brilliant American literature, and I don't care what anybody, it should be taught in schools.
Quickly, I'm just gonna also tell you that I did read the second book in that series, which is called The Obelisk Gate. I really enjoyed it. It was really great. I don't want to say anything about The Obelisk Gate because I feel like, or like the plot of The Obelisk Gate, because that's definitely going to give away way too much about the 5th season, but just know that it was really interesting. And I think that this book really delves into kind of the theme of like how you can be an agent in your own oppression, and how it is very easy to compel a group of people to hate themselves just as much as their oppressors hate them, and how that internalized hatred allows the oppressor to more easily control you. And it's just so fucking interesting. Like, N.K. Jemisin she's a genius, a mastermind, and I truly love this series. I think it's really good, and I gave this book 4 stars. It wasn't quite as good as the 5th season was, but still really brilliant, really interesting. So I think it kind of suffered a little bit from middle book syndrome, but it was still pretty good. Okay, and then the very last book that I read for that Mina Reads Your Faves video is The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. This book, we're following a character named Tao, and Tao is a part of this people called the Omehi. And the Omehi are essentially colonizing this area of land that is currently occupied by the Hedeni. So the Omehi, they are colonizing this land. So they're in this eternal war with the Hedeni, the indigenous people of this land, because they need somewhere to live and the Hedeni don't want them there. So they're in a constant state of warfare with these people. And Tao is someone who is on the lower end of the social caste system. So he's going to be forced to be a soldier when he comes of age. And this is not really a life that he wants for himself. He just wants to live an easy, simple life, marry a pretty girl, and, you know, own some land and be chilling. But things don't work out that way. Some of his loved ones die, they're murdered, and he vows that he will get revenge for their deaths. So in this book, we are following Tao on his quest for vengeance as he trains to become like the world's greatest fighter, essentially. I think that Evan Winter did some really interesting things in this book. I think that the world that he built is very fascinating. And I do think that he is very good at writing action and writing fight scenes and all that kind of stuff. However, for me personally, I felt like this story was really lacking. I felt like the characters were really not doing enough for me, and I'm definitely a character person, so I need characters to be interesting, compelling. I need to feel something for them to really love and enjoy a book. And I felt like I did not like Tao. I was not attached to him, and I cared about his motivations only in the barest sense, because, you know, he wants revenge for the fact that his family has been murdered. And I understand that, like, on a basic human level, I understand that hurt, that pain of like loss, so I get it. But I didn't feel like there was any real depth to Tao as a character, so I didn't care about him all that much. I don't know, it just wasn't giving what I needed it to give in terms of character. But I don't know, I just felt like because I didn't connect to Tao, I didn't like this book as much as I would have liked to. And I also felt like the author made like a really weird choice with the romance in here. There is a romance. The romance in here is like so pathetic. Like genuinely one of the most pathetic things I've ever read in my life. It was horribly done. It was horribly crafted. The characters, they didn't have no chemistry. I had no idea why they liked each other, let alone loved each other. It didn't work at all. And there's this horrible ass sex scene in it. It was just like, it was bad. Oh my god, listen, I wasn't gonna say nothing, but I'm gonna say something now. Because why in the entire fuck would this author think that it was like cute or romantic for the girl, the love interest, her name is Zuri. Zuri, she comes to visit Tao, and Tao, he's going a bit, you know, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and he's been like battling demons and shit, literal demons in hell. He's very, very driven on becoming the world's greatest fighter. So now he's battling demons for practice, right? And so since he started doing that, he has not been taking a lot of care of himself. He hasn't been washing enough. So she comes to visit him, and she's like, oh my god, like, you stink, you smell bad, like, you smell horrible. But she came there explicitly because she wanted to have sex with him. So she bathes him. Like, she has to wash his ass. He stinks that bad that she has to wash him. And then she sleeps with him, has sex with him in the dirty bath water. And it's just like, what?
What is this, honey?
And it's just so bad because, like, literally in the chapter before that happens, Tao talks about, like, shitting himself. Like, it's just like, in my mind, Tao is just so nasty. Like, why would you want to have sex with him? I can't fathom it. It don't make sense. Anyways, we're gonna move on. I gave it like 4 stars in the video, but that was kind of a lie. I feel more like 3-star about it. I do think that there was a lot of like good, cool stuff here, but as a character person, I wanted to care more about the characters. If I cared more about Tao as a character, I think I would have liked this book way more. Alright, so that was the first video done, my Mina Reads Your Faves books. I had a lot of thoughts about those, so hopefully the other stuff will, hopefully the other books that I want to talk about will go much quicker than that. But okay, so the camera died, so if the angle looks a little bit different, I'm sorry. But had to take a quick break to charge up the camera. The second vlog that I did this month was my 48-hour reading vlog, and in that reading vlog I attempted to read as many black romances as I could because I'm currently canceling my Kindle Unlimited subscription because, you know, we gotta save some money. So I decided that, yeah, I was gonna read as many black romances as I could that I already had downloaded on my Kindle. So the first one that I read was Love Scammed by Rousey Adams. Love Scammed by Rousey Adams, we're following these 2 characters, Monet and Hudson, and their friends basically scammed them into going on this vacation because their friends have been trying to set them up on a blind date for months. But these people, they're too busy and they just have never been able to catch each other at the right time. So their friends decide to organize this whole scam vacation for them to go on and for them to fall in love. And basically they do exactly that. They go, they meet, they fall in love, they start feeling the vibes, and it's a very sweet, very fun vacation romance. So I would highly recommend it if that's like something you're into, especially as we're getting into like the warmer months. I know a lot of people love vacation romances, so like I would say I would recommend it. It's fun, it's cute, it's sweet, it's, you know, slightly steamy. It didn't leave much of an impact on me, so I didn't actually rate it, but like it was fine. So yeah, there's that one. So then I read Maybe This Time by Christina C. Jones, and this is a really short Married in Vegas novella about these 2 best friends, Desiree and Tracy. Her and him, they have been friends for like over 20 years, and I don't know, this is just such like a funny book. It's just so funny to me. I don't know, something about the way that Christina C. Jones really wrote this story and like the characters, it really felt like I understood how they made that transition from like lifelong friends to romance. And it was really short, but it was still a really convincing romance. It was really steamy. We started off with a bang, literally. I love that. It was just very iconic. It was very fun, and I would highly recommend it. Christina C. Jones, she really can do no wrong in my eyes. She constantly delivers with fun characters, cool concepts, sexy books. So like, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I would recommend it, definitely. And this is a part of her like Vegas Nights series, I think that's what the series is called. There's going to be another book coming out like this weekend actually, so you should check it out. The next book that I read was To Be Alone With You by Jodie Slaughter, and this is actually a quarantine romance. We're following these 2 characters, Ira and, why am I forgetting what the girl's name is? It's Ira and, ooh, what is her name? Let me look it up. Well, To Be Alone With You is a quarantine romance, and we're following these two characters, Ira and Naomi. Naomi, she is a very stressed out millennial, going through a lot, underpaid, overworked, and she really needs a vacation. So she ends up taking a vacation with this family friend. She's staying at his house because he's like a rich artist, and so he has like a guest house for her to stay at. So she's staying there, kind of, you know, resting, trying to unwind and figure out what her next steps are going to be, because, you know, her current career path is just not cutting it. And basically, awkwardly enough, Ira and Naomi, they kind of have a bit of a romantic history. Naomi used to really like Ira, and Ira just thought that she was too young and it just wasn't going to work out for them because there's like a 10-year age gap. And at the time, Naomi was like 20 and he was 30, so he was like, I don't know, we shouldn't be together right now. But over the course of the pandemic, they end up quarantining together, falling in love. I thought that it was really cute. It's a nice little second chance romance. I thought that it was sweet. I enjoyed it, and I gave it 3.5 stars. The last book I read in that vlog was called Truth or Dare. It's about these two characters. They have been friends since college, and you know, years have passed. They've been friends all these years, and basically their mutual friends are getting married, so they are meeting up with each other at this destination wedding. And basically over the course of this destination wedding, rekindling their relationship with their friends and playing games of Truth or Dare to relive the college glory days, they end up like feeling a little bit of a spark between them. I thought this book was really steamy. Like, it was really sexy. I really enjoyed the sex scenes, but I didn't necessarily enjoy the book. Is kind of like a rom-com, and I didn't necessarily think that it was funny. The jokes didn't land for me. The dialogue was not, it wasn't giving what it was supposed to give. I just didn't enjoy the dialogue, and I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it all the way. But it was really sexy, so there was that. I gave it 3 stars. So that's all of the vlogs and stuff wrapped up. So now let me tell you about the other books that I read over the course of the month. So then I also read All Systems Red. This is by Martha Wells. This is the first book in her Murderbot series, the Murderbot Diaries, something like that. Basically, we're following this robot called Murderbot. So Murderbot is essentially a security unit. It's a sentient robot essentially, and it has basically hacked its like governor module, so it just does whatever it wants, and it doesn't necessarily listen to what its overlords like tell it to do. And so it basically just spends its time like watching soap operas and shit like that, and it's very awkward around humans, and it has to like protect people, and it's really cool, and it can do all of these different things, but at the same time it just wants to live like a life of leisure watching soap operas. It's a short little novella, and it's just a quick entry into this world. It was fine. I gave it like 3 stars. Then I read The Last Argument of Kings by Joe Abercrombie. I really don't know what to say about this because I absolutely love this. I gave it 5 stars. However, I don't know how to talk about this with you without, like, I don't know, spoiling the rest of the series. But what I would say is that the First Law trilogy is about there's a group of characters, Giselle, Glocta, Logan, and this wizard called Baez, and basically they are all on this journey. There's some political intrigue where they are trying to protect this country called the Union from a variety of threats from the north, from the south, from magical intervention, and yeah. It's really confusing to describe because I feel like this is a very character-driven fantasy rather than a super plot-driven fantasy, so I don't know how to describe the plot to you. But what I will say is that the characters in this series are fucking phenomenal. They're so well developed, and I really, really love them. I think they're so interesting. And I think that in this final book, it really was like such a good emotional payoff for me personally, reading about the characters in this last book and, you know, where they end up and what ends up happening with them. I felt like it all made so much sense, and it just wrapped up so beautifully, and I felt like the plot and the way it all coalesced was just so interesting and engaging, and I was gagged the whole book. It was phenomenal. I really loved reading it. And so yeah, I gave this book 5 stars, which was really interesting because all of the other books in this series I was kind of like, you know, the first book I gave it like 3.5, the second book I gave 3 stars, and this one was a 5 star. Like, I don't know, something. Joe Abercrombie he hit all the high points for me. There was a lot of action in this. It was really fast paced. The characters were doing what they needed to do, and it was just really good, so I had to give it 5 stars. So then I read Best Laid Plans by Rowan Parrish, and this is about these 2 characters, Charlie and Rye. Rye, he has recently inherited a house from his late grandfather. However, this house is like super duper run down, and so he is trying to rehab the house by himself, but he knows absolutely nothing about construction or carpentry, so he is just continuously going into his local hardware store trying to buy supplies, but truthfully he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. So the hardware store owner, Charlie, ends up volunteering to help him like rebuild this family home, and it's a really sweet romance. I liked it. I think that Rowan Parrish constantly does this like trope where she has a character who's like a mess emotionally, and then they have another character who is like the epitome of stability, and they're like super good at adulting, and then she constantly puts those two types of characters together. And I am a huge, massive, gigantic fan of that. I don't know why, but I just think it's so interesting and I love reading about it. So it was cute. I liked it. I thought the characters were really cool, and I really liked the way that they discussed consent in this book. I just felt like that was really well presented, and I enjoyed it. So like, it was cute. I gave it 3.5 stars. The audiobook in particular was very fun. So Rowan Parrish, because I really like her as a writer. I ended up reading Raise, which is the third book in her Ribbon series. So this is about these two characters, Felix and Huey. They meet at Huey's bar, and they just have like a really simplistic romance. Like, Felix asks Huey out, they start going out, and they start dating. And this story is more about, this is about their romance, but it's also more about their like personal internal journeys, because Huey, he is a recovering addict and he has been sober for a number of years. So Huey, he has all of these like, I don't know, traditions that he uses to keep himself like stable, and he's starting to feel like these traditions and these routines are taking over his life. So this is about Huey trying to like take back his power and find a way to feel stable and comfortable and like in control of his life without the need for these really strict routines anymore. And then Felix, Felix is trying to figure out like what he wants to do with his life, because he's devoted so much of his time to taking care of his family, and now, you know, he's in like his mid-20s and he needs to figure out what he wants to do with the rest of his life. So yeah, we're following these two characters who are kind of going on these two personal journeys while also finding each other and trying to like make a relationship between them work. I thought this was cute. It was nice. I gave it like 3 stars. I don't think that it's like super interesting. It's not super romantic, if that makes any sense. Like, it's not, I don't know, I feel like the romance doesn't really do a lot for me. Like, yes, they're a couple and yeah, they're cute together, but I just don't feel like there's anything super interesting about their relationship or the way that they come together or anything like that. I think the most interesting parts are their separate arcs, if that makes sense. So then I read The Band Sinister by KJ Charles. Oh my god, new favorite book. It was so fucking iconic. Let me get myself together, because I need y'all to read this book. It was so good. This is a Regency romance, and we're following these two characters, Guy and Sir Philip. Sir Philip is a rake. He's an atheist. He's all of these things that everyone labels him to be a very bad influence, and people don't like him, and he's not super well respected by other society gentlemen. And basically, he ends up having to take care of Guy's sister Amanda after she's injured on his property. So Guy and his sister Amanda end up moving into Rookwood Hall, where Sir Philip lives, and Sir Philip is accompanied by his group of friends called the Murder. And so basically the Murder are full of all these interesting people, thinkers, painters, etc. But that's all kind of an elaborate ruse, and they're all just like really close friends, and they're all queer, so they all like spend a lot of time together, and in Philip's country home they can just be themselves and be open and proud about their relationships together. And Guy is basically exposed to all of this queer love and freedom, and it basically makes him realize some things about himself, and him and Philip start this really cute, really sweet, really steamy relationship, and I love them. It was so good. I mean, it was excellent. It was just like, it was found family excellence. The historical aspects were so fun to read about. I think KJ Charles has a really interesting writing style, and her ability to create like the atmosphere, the tone is so good. And I just think that this book was, it was cool. Like, it was really funny, it was really sweet, it was kind of steamy. There was like a lot of really emotional moments in this, and I absolutely loved the characters, like all of them. I loved all the side characters, all the main characters. There was some side relationships that I thought were amazing, and like everybody's queer. There's like open relationships in this. It was just so interesting, and like it was just so good. I would highly recommend it. If you're a person who likes historical romance, please check it out. KJ Charles she did what she had to do with this book. It was phenomenal. I would highly recommend it. So then I read another KJ Charles book, and sadly I didn't like it anywhere near as much as I liked The Band Sinister, but it was okay. It was called Unfit to Print. It was fine. It was about these two characters, Vikram and Gil. Vikram is a lawyer and Gil is a smut peddler. Basically, he sells porn in Victorian London. So, you know, super illegal what he's doing, but that's what he does. And basically Vikram and Gil, they are long lost friends, and Gil has kind of been missing for a long time, and Vikram actually thought that Gil was dead. But anyway, they end up meeting up again, and they are joining together to solve the mystery of this young boy's disappearance. And it's also like a romance between them. I think that this book was so weird because on one hand, it was trying to do this you know, mystery thing, and the mystery was actually really concerning because it was about this young teen boy who was like a sex worker, and then like he's missing. So I was really concerned about that the whole book, like, oh my god, where's this little boy, like what's happening to him, like is he gonna be all right? And then the book kind of like distracts you by being a romance and like Gil and Vikram falling in love or whatever, and it was like, I actually don't really care all that much about this. I like, who gives a fuck? I want to know about the rest of the stuff.
Oh my god, who the hell cares?
And then it actually solves the mystery off page, and it was like, what? It was just very weird. I felt like I just kind of felt like the whole plot of that little boy being missing and that being the thing that like brought Gil and Vikram together, I felt like that was just like, it was not good, because I just felt like there wasn't a good balance between the mystery and the romance. And also, I didn't really like the romance that much. So, because the romance really relied on the fact that Gil and Vikram used to know each other, and they used to like each other when they were in like high school or whatever, and it relied on that. But I mean, we don't know anything about their high school days, so how am I supposed to be convinced that they're in love now, currently, at age 30, just because they knew each other at age 15? So, it was like, it was fine. Like, if I were to give it anything, I'd give it like a 2.5 stars. Like, I didn't like it that much. It was okay. The last thing that I read was Spy Family. I don't remember who this is by, but this is a manga, and it is about this spy who needs to create a family so that he can fulfill this mission that he has, where he needs to ingratiate himself with this family man so that he can steal the man's like secret plans for destroying this country. So he has to create a family for himself so that he can get his kid to attend this prestigious school so he can get close to his target. So he ends up adopting this little girl named Anya, who is a telepath, and then he ends up getting a fake wife who is an assassin. However, he does not know that Anya is a telepath, and he doesn't know that his fake wife is an assassin. So he is busy trying to hide his spy double life from them while they also have their own double lives and secrets, and it is a really adorable manga. It's so funny, it's hilarious, the characters are really cute, and I liked it so much, so I gave it 5 stars. Like, it was really cute, the art was really beautiful, and I think that the characters and their dynamics together are really fun. It's really funny. I would highly recommend it if you're looking for a manga to read. It was just really sweet. I really enjoyed it a lot. So yeah, I was glad that that was the last thing that I read in March because I gave it 5 stars. And yeah, that's gonna be all the books that I read in March. It was way too fucking many, and I feel like I talked for way too long, so I'm sorry for keeping you here this long. If you did make it to the end of the video, please leave me a book stack emoji, but I appreciate you for being here, and I want to thank you so much for watching. Let me know what your favorite book you read in March was. I'd love to hear about it. And yeah, let me know if you've read any of the books that I mentioned in here and what your thoughts were on them. Just let me know whatever you want to let me know in the comments, and be sure to leave that book stack emoji because I would love to see who made it all the way to the end. So I'll see you all in my next video. Bye you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and a special thank you to all of my wonderful patrons.